to be talking about Beyond the Return.
Yeah.
But even before that, I have a question, and this is a question on the minds of, or on the lips of many people in Ghana as well. Year of Return came, a lot of people heard about it. But then again, it looks like many Ghanaians did not really understand Year of Return as much as was expected. It looked like it was an elitist initiative, and so it was centered just around a certain group of people. And what we've been wanting to ask is that, was there really some intensive monitoring and evaluation even before the launch of Beyond the Return? Because then again, if Ghanaians didn't really grasp the full idea of Year of Return, then how then do they tap into the opportunities available for Beyond the Return?
All right, thank you, Berla. But just to clarify, we haven't launched Beyond the Return yet.
Okay.
The president just announced that this is what is going to continue from the Year of Return. We needed to keep the momentum going. And so he made the announcement, and we are at the drawing board bringing together the various stakeholders that need that to be part of the Year of Return. We know going Beyond the Return is not just people coming to visit. There's an investment conversation.
Yeah.
Invest Ghana. There's also the Experience Ghana, which is part of the tourism bit. There's a real estate conversation, the conversations around citizenship and the visa processes and all that. So there is a broader evaluation of all the things that we've done that is going on. But I mean, drawing back, if you look at some of the feedback and the videos that we've seen, all over the country. I mean, if you talk about elitists, I don't think the people at the Art Center who are telling us they made 5 times sales are elitists. The whole idea of bringing in visitors to a country or tourism is that the value chain. So let's look at the value chain. The taxi drivers, the people within the hospitality sectors, restaurants, chop bars, everybody was happy.
Yeah.
And for us, if that money is coming into the economy, then we need to upgrade facilities, we need to bring in more investment so that when people come, there are more options for them and also more facilities for them to go to.
All right. Okay, thank you for the clarification, by the way. Now, there were some very interesting numbers that were thrown about, figures, and one of them was the fact that $1.9 billion was made in the year 2019. And it was clarified by the Deputy Minister of Tourism that it was actually from tourism in general, with a big chunk of it coming from the Year of Return. Now that we're moving to Beyond the Return, and of course, based on what the President says, he says that he's engaging in mutually beneficial trade, investment, and cultural cooperation with the African diaspora. What are the plans that we have to possibly double the figure and also encourage more investment in the country?
I think what we are doing is to now look at the pillars. I mean, Year of Return was anchored on events, getting people to come in. So we created more like a buffet for everybody. So throughout the year, we had more than 100 events. Every day, every week, there was something that you wanted to come to. Going Beyond the Return, there are investment conversations, there are real estate conversations that are going on. And so what we are doing now is to look at these pillars, working with the Office of Diaspora Affairs and also the Ministry of Finance. We all know that the Minister of Finance has already announced the Diaspora Investment Account, which is the Sankofa account. So all these things are coming into the play. But then, critically, people are not just going to go into a country because it's an investable country. They need to come in there to experience either the culture, the leisure, and all those things. So we're also going to play that key role in making sure that Ghana is still a fun place to be.
Okay. Now let's talk about intersectoral development, because we do understand that with tourism comes the need to develop other aspects of the economy as well, so it can support revenue generation. And one of the major concerns was the fact that especially transport system in the country to access some of the remote areas that have some of the most beautiful tourist sites, unfortunately, was a major challenge for the country as well. And so yes, we're looking at investors coming in, we're looking at developing some aspects of it as well. But what really is the concrete plan to ensure that as much as we want to promote tourism to the rest of the world, we do have the structures and the system to support the numbers that will come into the country as well?
All right, so for some of them, for example, sites, attractions and all that, we've just just before Parliament adjourned, we laid in Parliament the legislative instrument on sites and attractions. And that really gives us that muscle to regulate all the tourist sites and attractions in the country. And at the back of that, what we're going to do now is to promote more investment into the product itself.
Okay.
Now, the enhancers, which are things like the roads and the sanitation issues, are things that we're working very closely with the other public sector agencies. I mean, the Highways Authority. I mean, this is a year of roads, as we've been told.
Yeah.
And we know that when it comes to the issue of roads, most of them, especially the ones that lead to the key tourist sites, have been factored in the 2020 year of roads project. But beyond that, we also want to do the heavy lifting. And so when we talk about, for example, Aquaba hotels and things like that, it's not government building those things, but government creating that enabling environment. And the enabling environment comes in at the back of the laws, incentives that can be provided, working with GIPC and other agencies to make sure that when people are coming in, their investments are protected and all that.
Okay. Now, I quickly want to ask this. I don't know how many of you were in Ghana during the year of return, anytime during 2019. Anybody here? I believe a number of you were here. And there were some of you who stayed in hotels. Did the prices double around? It did, right? 4 times the regular price for some of you. And this is something that a lot of people encountered as well. We're asking people to come into Ghana to invest. We're giving them the opportunity to also experience some parts of Ghana just so that we can whet their appetite to want to come and hopefully even stay in the country. Now, if we're encouraging that and yet people are coming in at a time when, you know, for tourism, things should be a bit more moderate so that more people can afford and want to even come, and we have hospitality charging 3 times, 4 times the price, then this might serve as a turn-off for some people, and so they'll leave with very bitter experiences. And we've read a few reviews. As much as there have been some very incredible reviews about Year of Return, these are some of the things that people complained about. Did the GTA have any idea of what was going on? Did they have any hand in it? And moving forward for Beyond the Return, what is the plan for some of these challenges?
We knew what was going on, and I think if you take Uber, for example, I mean, once there's an activity here, there's a price surge. So the price surges are not something that is peculiar to Ghana alone. However, we're looking at the whole 9 years, if I should put it this way. One, engaging the hospitality sector, because we don't live in a price control environment. We cannot control the prices. These are private businesses, so if somebody says that's how much I'm charging for my room and I can afford it, I go. And so what we're doing is to engage them, for them to understand that we are in it for a long haul. I mean, Beyond the Return is a 10-year project. So for those who thought that maybe I make this bit this year and that's it, we're telling them we're in for a long haul. 2, we're encouraging, I think, accommodation and other facilities are demand-driven. Once demand goes up and it outstrips supply, then people are going to now start putting up prices. So we're encouraging more investments into especially accommodation facilities. And that's one of the things that I raised when I was talking about investments. And then also going into other areas. I mean, for example, we're seriously promoting homestays. People who want to stay with families and all that. So we're doing our own homestay project so that people can come in, be immersed with the culture, stay with the family. Those are things that are affordable. But by and large, if you take the average guest house budget hotel, I don't think it's above what people could afford. It's just when you go into the 5-star, 4-5-star, where we don't have enough. And so that's why we are asking. The opportunity is there for investors to come in, because in Accra, for example, we have only 3 5-star hotels. And when all the high-end tourists are coming, they want 5-star hotels. So all of a sudden, if you go to the booking engines, the prices are very high. And so once we get more, and we are working with the various players to see the cost sort of incentives that we can provide to attract more high-end hotels into the country.
All right, and one more thing that I'd want to know as well. So with Year of Return, it looked like it was centered around just Accra and the central region and just a few places in the country. When we look at the northern region, it's one part of the country that was greatly affected by slave trade in the past. And so, we expected that a lot more activity would go on there as well, just to encourage more people to go there, retrace, their past and all of that. And so some regions were heavily left out as well. What is the plan for Beyond the Return? I know we talked about transport issues and all of that, but really, if we're looking at an inclusive initiative such as this, what is the plan moving forward to ensure that not only the Greater Accra region or the Central region or maybe the Ashanti region benefits from this, but at least it gets to every corner of the country?
I think if you take the strategy for Year of Return, it's going to be quite different from what we're doing Beyond the Return. Year of Return was an invitation to the private sector, come up with ideas, events, activities that will then be endorsed by the steering committee.
Okay.
And so for the private person, the profit consideration was always going to be his number one consideration. Nobody's going to say, I'm taking an event to a place where probably I will not be able to break even. But going forward, Beyond the Return, and that's why I said we haven't launched because there are serious conversations going on. The slave trail, the slave route trail, starting from Golu through Pikoro, Asin Manso, Asin Praso, Bono Manso, and all those places, we have funding on our own to upgrade some of these sites so that when you do the proper trail, you can fill it. And then now invite private sector to now fill the gaps. And so you will see that Beyond the Return, we're not going to have 100 events, but we're going to have more impactful events that touches the whole country. The question of our festivals. Every part of the country we have festivals. And so all these festivals are also now going to be enhanced and brought into the fray for Beyond the Return.
Okay, we're looking forward to a lot more then. I believe my time is up, and so we'll have to wrap up here. But thank you so much, Mr. Akwasi Agyemang.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you want to start talking about charter flights, who does one come to speak to? And the second question that I should ask is about the Marine Drive. That why are you developing a beachfront that people can't swim on the beach?
For the charter flight question, you need to engage us and also civil aviation, but we can hold your hands. We give you the permits to organize the charter flights, and then civil aviation will certify the aircraft that you're going to use. So we work hand in hand because they will check the airworthiness of the aircraft. But when it comes to the regulation, the permitting to do that, we do that. And previously, the reason why charter flights were not that it was cancelled, but we didn't allow reverse charters. So if you brought in, let's say, a plane load of people to Ghana, you would have to wait and take the same group back, which was not economical. So that clause has been taken out. That reverse charter bit has now been taken off, and so you can bring in and then take a different set of passengers. We've reworked the regulations, so now, there are about 3 operators who are talking to us. In December, we wanted to work with them to organize one, but I think it was a bit too late. So we can talk after here and then see how we can work together to bring in the charters. I know you have the expertise, so we can tap into that and see how we can get it going.
And then the women who asked about the children.
The children bit, I think it's feedback that we are taking. It's also part of the conversation we are having in broadening the stakeholders that we work with Beyond the Return. So Ghana Education Service, Immigration Service and all that. But I think what you said is very true. I think we need to do more education. The beachfront bit.
Beachfront, yes, beachfront.
Sorry, Mr. He's here. The developer is here. If you can ask him to answer that.
Anyway.
I know there's a public beach there.
One can swim within the enclave. We are developing through Mensah-Guinea and non-Mensah-Guinea. It is stretching from the castle right through to the Bedouin Powell. Now, we are taming the shores. So one could swim from the edge right through to about 150 meters into the ocean, because we're going to tame it with a jetty, and we're going to bridge between the castle and that of the other side of it. So one could swim there.
Is the quality good though? The water quality, is it swimmable?
Well, they're
Of
working
course.
on it.
Just checking. Just checking. I've been there myself.
As we speak now, they are even swimming there. We have a name that they call the Berla Beach.
Thank you very much.
And one would appreciate that as we speak now, they are even swimming there. So what we intend doing is to theme the wave so that they can enjoy it better. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Round of applause for the panel as well. Thank you very much.